Greetings FS122 grasshoppers. I'm about to do a demonstration here of Photoshop Basics. This may be one or even multiple videos. Hopefully we'll find out for sure. And the first thing we need to do is to do a little anatomy lesson in Photoshop. Now, if you've done the exercise where you map out Photoshop, then you're going to be somewhat familiar with these areas, which is great. So let's just cover the basics here. Now, menus. So again, for those of you who haven't been through this, here are the menus: Photoshop, File menu, Edit, Image, Layer, Select, Filter, Analysis, 3D, View, Window, Help. And the good news is, I might as well tell you guys now, most of this stuff, the only thing that's different on a PC is that you would not have the Apple menu here and the Photoshop menu. It's a little bit different on the PC, but you will have everything else: file, edit, image, etc. In fact, the good news is that most things between the Mac and PC are the same. There are just some very small, minor variations, and I'll be sure to point those out as we go along. So anyway, so those are the menus up there. Next thing are the tools. Now that's this stuff over here. And many of these tools, well, first of all, if you just put your cursor over them without even doing anything, it will give you a tooltip, which gives you the name of the tool, and it will give you the keyboard shortcut. We'll talk about keyboard shortcuts in just a moment. And many of these tools, like this one, have several tools under that particular square or tile. I'll use the term tile quite a bit. And let's click and hold on this one here. Hello. There we go. Got the gradient tool and the paint bucket. This one has a lot of tools down here: rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, etc. Okay, so you will want to get to know a lot of these tools. Some of them kind of do the same things as other things, and you'll get the hang. Okay, so those are the tools. Then there are the options. We didn't talk about the options last week. Every time you change a tool here over in the toolbox or tool panel, the options here will change. Okay, and you'll get to know this as you move along too. And of course, then there are panels, and we'll most likely really won't be playing with this too much right now. We like to have layers visible. I like to have layers open at all times. Okay, now before we go too much farther, I will show you how to create a new file. Let's do that first. We'll create a new file, even though we really won't use it. So I'll go up here to File menu and go to File menu and go to New. Click on that. The keyboard shortcut on the Mac is Command N. That little curly Q guy is the Command key. Now, if you look down at your keyboards, for those of you on the Mac, it's right next to the space bar. And if you've got a recent keyboard, you'll find that the key will actually look like that curly Q thing, and it will also say Command. Okay? And for those of you who don't know what this looks like again, nope, it's not showing me. One of my options that shows you what the key thing looks like is not on right now. We'll fix it later. Okay, anyway, so Command N. Now, so the difference between this and the PC is, on the PC you would use the Control key. Okay? That's really the only major difference. Okay? Command N on the Mac is Control N on the PC. Okay? We'll catch other details as we move along. So let's create a new file. Now, as you can see here, this is a dialog window, and a dialog window is doing what? It's asking for a dialogue, which means a conversation. Okay, so it wants some information. It wants to know how big and at what quality do we want to make a file. Okay, now I was just playing with numbers a few minutes ago, so I kind of slammed in these numbers, but this is not right for what we want to do. So I'm going to switch back to something we're going to use a lot in class, and that is the default Photoshop size. Okay, so when I change it to default Photoshop size, it changes it to not pixels, but inches. So look at the different values you can put in here: pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 9 times out of 10 we'll be using pixels. If you're doing something for print, inches is good. Okay, now for most demonstrations that I do in class, usually 7 by 5 inches should be fine. And if you've watched the scanning demo, you'll see that there's a resolution. And the word I want you to think of whenever you see the word resolution is quality. At what quality do we want to create this document? Do we want it high quality or low quality? And excuse me, 72, and look at what this says over here, pixels per inch or pixels per centimeter. Now, for my money, I don't think I've ever moved off of pixels per inch. I always leave this one on. Okay, so I'm just gonna basically, you can put any number you want in here, but generally there's really only a couple of numbers you really want to put in. Okay, 72 is actually low quality. Okay, and this is where I lose a lot of people. So get in the habit, if you're creating a low quality document, 72. If you want to do a high quality, 300. Now, typically, you want to do high quality documents for, well, high quality projects, of course, but typically this is even more quality than you would need for a print job that you're creating. So generally, I will start off with 300, and if I need to downgrade later, I can always do that in Photoshop. Not a big deal. But notice what happens here. Look what's happening over here. 9 megabytes. Okay, when you create a file at 7 inches by 5 at 300 quality, meaning resolution, okay, your image size, meaning the first layer that's created, comes out to be 9 megabytes. That's pretty huge. That's pretty large. Let's compare this. Okay, let's put this down at low quality, down here at 72. Now look what happens. This is not 9 megabytes, this is barely half a megabyte. Okay, so the more quality you have, the larger the file size will be. Okay, the higher the files, or the higher the quality, the higher the resolution, the higher the file size will be. So as you can imagine, when you start creating large documents, this can get out of hand pretty rapidly. Okay, but these are the only things you really need to pay attention to right now. 7 inches, or just the width and the height, and the resolution. Now these other two figures, actually these other three, we're really not going to even worry about, because we're going to leave it this way the entire quarter. Okay, you will always use RGB color to start your document with. Okay, you will always do an 8-bit file. You don't need these other things unless you're doing just incredibly large file sizes. And generally speaking, we'll also start off with just a white background. Okay, now this advanced business that's down here, we don't really care about this, so we're going to just click that off. Okay, so actually let's just set this back at our default Photoshop size, and half a megabyte, which is fine, and click OK. Meet you at the next movie.